Welcome to the Feel Good Everyday podcast. I'm Annie Vinya, integrative health practitioner, meditation and yoga teacher. And I am so excited to have actually my birthday twin here, both February 1st babies with Courtney Copeland. Yay. Thank you for coming and joining. I want to hand it over to you.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. When we connected, you guys, it was almost like kismet because we're actually a birthday triplet. We have another friend who has our
Yes.
same birthday, different years, but still
Yeah.
same date. And we are all 6'2s, and it's just been fantastic. So thank you so much for having me on the show.
Yeah. Sure.
And I am an integrative healing practitioner, is probably the best way to say what I do. I am a master's
Yes.
level licensed or formerly licensed counselor. I got rid of my license so I can help anyone anywhere. I am also a Reiki practitioner. I'm an integrative somatic healer, and I have multiple certifications in crisis intervention and other modalities to help people through heavy stuff. I do group
Yes.
work. I have my own podcast, which beautiful Annie was a guest on as well.
Yes. So
And
fun.
my goal is to help people feel seen and heard and understood and not so alone in the world, and then move towards
Yes.
healing.
I love that. What brought you to this? Letting go of the license and to this.
So it was a provisional license, so I never got the full license. I had done my internship, I had done my residency, and part of it was girls got to eat, right? So I did
I
my
love that realness.
master's. I did my master's later in life, and there would be additional time that you have to go in with a new practice. I'm in Virginia. I would only be able to serve folks in Virginia, and people have trauma and need help everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I didn't want to limit that scope to where I'm located. We're doing consultation, I say that in air quotes, with colleagues, and they're in Pennsylvania, they're in
Mhm.
Florida. So I'm like, why am I going to limit myself
Yeah.
when there's so much that needs to be done? And
I
then
love.
within licensure, there are some constraints. You have to write certain things down,
Mhm.
especially if you take insurance, you have to follow certain protocol. I don't write things down and I don't take insurance because
Yeah.
I want people to feel truly safe to share their entire
Yes.
story.
But I have a really hard time. I just want to serve everybody
Yeah.
and anybody.
And I think
Yeah.
that's just part of being multi-passionate, right? And meet people where they are, help them where they are. And in our world, we're told niche down, do this. Yeah, to an extent, but am I excluding people that could really use my services? I do that.
Yeah.
And I think,
Yes.
again, you and I are so similar just with all the things that I
Yep.
think sometimes we fail to recognize. And if you guys don't know what she's talking about, it's our human design. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, in case there's a new listener, it's our human design and how we were built. And part of that means that we're not built to quote unquote follow normal rules. Like
Mhm.
things in business, at least in my business, and I've been through some coaching programs and such. For business coaching, you have to post every day. You have to do this every day. That ain't me. That ain't me. If I'm
Yeah.
showing up
Yeah.
every day, I'm looking feral. I'm gonna have my bite guard in. My hair's gonna stick off to the side. If that's what you want.
You're right. Exactly. It's not always polished and pretty.
No. And that's my specialty is unpolished and
Yeah.
unpretty. Come to me.
Yeah.
And I think you're welcome your clients that way too. Come to me with
Yeah.
the big mess.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
How do you help them?
It's so varied, to be honest. I specialize in trauma. I've worked a lot with adult trauma. I don't work with little kids because, full disclosure, I'd cut a bitch. Don't mess with kids or dogs or animals. That's just not my specialty. But
Yeah.
I've worked a lot with first responders. I've worked with human trafficking survivors and then just general
Oops. Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Um, so I've gone in the trenches with folks who have witnessed someone's life expire. I have gone in the trenches with somebody who has been so completely violated and beaten. They weren't sure if they would survive. They didn't feel human. And
Mhm.
I've been in the trenches with college kids. I say kids, they're over 18. I'm old. So they're kids to me. If I can
Yeah.
be your mama, you're a kid. And
Yeah.
um, who are having issues with how to work with parents, how to finish school or not finish school, and work through the
Right.
stress that pressures being put upon them. So it's really, truly varied. And so it's hard to say one thing.
There was a lot of focus on helping the caregivers. When you're talking about like the first responders, right? Think about the trauma they've seen or experienced. We usually look at the victim or the patient, right? So I think that's so cool that you're doing that for them as well, because I know there's a big need that a
Thank
lot of
you.
people would.
No, and honestly, there's a good reason that many of those professionals don't seek help because the second you write it down, they won't go to a licensed party quite often. And I've worked with a veterinarian, I've worked with an ER doctor, I've worked with a trauma surgeon. They come in with pieces and you put that guy or girl back together, right? So part
Right.
of it is within their profession, they can lose their medical license.
Yeah. Gosh.
And yeah, other than
Yeah.
colleagues, and some colleagues are suck it up, some colleagues are supportive, and
Right.
people come in their worst times. No one goes
Hmm.
to the hospital because it's fun, unless maybe you're having a baby, right?
And even that can be
So,
traumatic. Yeah.
yes, yes. And
Yeah.
so, a lot of these practitioners and even first responders, they're afraid to say a whole lot because of the
Yeah.
records as a licensed clinician you do have to keep, and rightfully
Right.
understood.
Yes. Yeah.
But who's there to hold the space for the people that can lose their jobs?
Yeah.
If I have an officer that's having a suicidal ideation, does that mean he or she's gonna act on it? No, they're just
Right.
having these thoughts, and we're gonna talk about it and what the impact it may be and why we're there. And it's really a moment. It's really a
Hmm.
short period of time. We will get through it on the other side. You do have support.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're telling me I have a weapon, I have a plan, you have a plan, you have the means, we're going to go to the hospital and hold hands and sing kumbaya till someone comes and
Yeah.
takes you in the back. It's
Exactly.
different.
Exactly. It
So they
is.
don't reach
It
out for
is.
help. Doctors don't reach out for help. Dentists don't reach
Mhm.
out for help.
Yeah. And I think because they're looked at as the strong
Yeah.
ones, right? As they're the helpers, not to be
Oh,
helped.
yeah. And
So
you
it's
signed
almost
up
like a
for this.
shame. Right. It's like veterans,
Yes.
right? They're my family with severe PTSD and that same thing. They are looked at as the helpers, the strong ones, the capable one. There's no person, process, or protocol to let them process everything. So it's awesome that you're doing that. What
So,
does a session look like once they're working with you?
so again, they're unique.
That's awesome.
Oftentimes we kind of get to know each other a little bit. I'm like, I'll try to do a meet and greet first, so to speak, like
Hmm.
a connection call. If they're local, meet and greet, we'll meet at a coffee shop or whatever, and wherever they're comfortable speaking plainly. So if
Right.
we need to do a private session, 100%, we will do that.
Yeah.
And we're just, hey, what's going on? So I'll do a body scan with them there in session because the body is
Hmm.
stores things
Yes.
that we may not consciously remember.
Yeah.
And we'll do a quick body scan sometimes. And sometimes it's just, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Can you help me? And I'm like, are you ready to actually put in work? And some of my practitioner and some of my skills, Reiki, somatics, some of the things that we had talked about, where if it's appropriate, we'll do Reiki in a session. If it's appropriate, we'll do somatics in a session. I also work with some essential oils that are known for helping, one's called parasympathetic, helping
Hmm.
with the nervous system. And if we need to do some nervous system regulation, we'll put
Ooh.
that on the diffuser and then work together while we're working on some nervous system regulation. If I'm working with someone in person, I keep an ice pack. There's fidget toys, there's different little things that can be brought up, but it truly depends on what it is. If we need to
Yeah.
do some EMDR, that's never what I do first. We actually
Hmm.
have to work and make sure that the person is safe and grounded and is able to get safe and grounded afterwards. You never release anyone into the wild after EMDR without bringing them back. So it depends on the session, and it's set up as an hour, quote unquote.
Right.
It is so rarely an hour.
You can't cut that off, right?
Yeah. And again, another reason I
And
don't
that's
do
beautiful.
insurance or licensure
Yeah.
is because your next appointment's here. I put the
Right.
buffer in to make sure that we have that time. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I love that's personalized. I'm all about personalized plans. So I think that more you can do that. And I am feeling in this world, right? Nervous system regulation has become this buzzword. And I think because
yeah.
it's more education for everybody. But I am realizing the more I dig in with my clients who, quote unquote, don't have trauma or what they think trauma looks like, we realize that everyone has trauma. Be even if you had perfect parents, it could still be childhood trauma. It could be work trauma. It could be female body trauma, which
Yes.
99% of all women, I would bet, have some sort of trauma
Amen.
there.
Yep.
Right. And so the more getting into the body and just feeling it and being okay there. That's a lot of what you're doing in the trauma sensitive yoga training that I had. It's getting into the body because it can be a really scary place.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you have said, I'm out, which
Yeah.
I've done that. I'm on a daily sometimes. And it's such a double-edged sword to understand ourselves and feel these things. It's beautiful, but horrible.
Amen, girl.
Right. And so, yeah, I love that you do that. And I think I have had a couple of Reiki sessions myself, and they're amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it can be so simple as that,
Yes.
where you might not even be touching them, but there's or feeling or finding
Yes.
these things in the body. I love that. You said healing isn't linear. Did that come from you? Does that come from client experience?
I'm sure I'm not the first practitioner to ever say that. I'm sure someone
Yeah.
has said that somewhere else. If I'm misquoting someone, whoever said it, credit to you. But it's truly not. So
Yeah.
we have an experience. And if people are like, I'm not traumatized, have you ever had a big experience that made you uncomfortable? Okay, we'll
Right.
just call it that. So we have an experience where we're uncomfortable in some way, whether it's a bullying or an assault or a sexual assault or witnessing something that should not be happening or something that goes against our morals repeatedly and we have a moral injury. So we have
Yeah.
something that makes us uncomfortable. We can either sit with it and feel it, because we have to, because we don't have a choice, or we stuff it down and it pops up like a jack in the box, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we
I
deal
like
with the
that
jack in the
image.
box. We're like, okay, you're fine. I'm going to put you back down here because I have things to do.
Right.
And then it comes up,
Right.
you crank that handle again, right? And then it pops up
Yeah.
again when you don't know it. And you're like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
And then you work through a little bit of it, right?
Yeah.
And so you think,
Yeah.
all right, I'm good. I feel good now. I shut the lid on that and I'm cranking my little handle. And you can go years
Mhm.
and years cranking that
Yeah.
handle. And all of a sudden it pops right back up.
Uh-huh.
So when it pops up that last time, it could be, ooh, this is impacting more than I thought. So you're doing the cha-cha, you're now going backwards
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
start
Been there.
working on
Yeah.
that heavy stuff. And then you kind of take your
Mhm.
few steps forward. Oh, I'm good. I'm doing better. I'm feeling my feelings, right? I'm feeling my feelings. Good. And it's when you think you're feeling your feelings and you're like good that sometimes it kicks you really hard.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
you're in it. And so depending on where you are in life, depending on what needs you have, if we have to put you back in the box for a few minutes so that you can stabilize and get through what you need to get through in life, we do that.
Yeah.
And
I
then you
love
come back
that.
again, right?
Right.
Sometimes you pop the lid on the box yourself and you're like, all right, you stupid little puppet, we're going to get through. So it's not linear. It goes up and down and up and down and ebbs and flows. And maybe there are people out there that have had linear healing. I've not encountered one.
Yeah. No.
Um,
Yeah.
most of my colleagues have not encountered anyone with
Right.
linear healing. It could be a smell, right? So my grandmother
Triggers you.
wore Shalimar. I'm showing my
Hmm.
age here, but my grandmother wore Shalimar, and sometimes, whether it's a good memory or bad memory, right? If I smell
Right.
Shalimar, I'm
Right.
like, "Ooh, grandma,"
Right.
and that's not a
Yeah.
super common scent anymore. So it can be
Yeah.
good or bad, right? But out
Hmm.
of the blue, you're not expecting it. I am healed. And then the scent of
Yeah.
Shalimar comes up, or the scent of a restaurant comes up, or you see a pair of shoes that looked like someone you loved and you have a moment. So it's
Yeah.
never linear.
No, it's never linear. I agree. And I've heard the spiral analogy, right? Up and away from it. And then all of a sudden something happens and you either move a little bit farther down or way farther down, depending on how triggering it was or where you are. And I will even be super woo woo here and say, I think astrology is playing a part lately too. No, it is. There are some days where it is like, I don't think I was triggered by anything outside. I swear it's the astrology. It's triggering me the other day, and I am feeling trauma and the past and all the stuff, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
right?
And you do. You're like, I thought I solved this. I thought I was past this. And yet here in this muck.
Exactly. And it can be years and you're like, I'm good. And then kabam. I think COVID did a little bit of that to some folks because we do. human beings, we're going to just keep getting busy. We're going to keep moving forward. We have things to do. All of us have things to do, right? And
Yeah.
as we're doing our things, we put stuff down because we have something else that we have to accomplish. Oh, I'll work on that later. Or, oh, it's really uncomfortable. I'm going to cry and get this out of my system. And, okay.
Yeah.
And now I keep going. And
Yeah.
I think when COVID came, there was a big difference because people were at home with nothing to do. We weren't allowed to go out, right? For a
Right.
long time.
Right.
And people were inside less distracted because they
Hmm.
couldn't distract themselves as easily. And I think
Right.
in in the counseling world, we did see a shift after
I
that
bet.
because
Yeah.
people were
I
like,
bet a
"Oh,"
big one.
and I would imagine you did too.
Mm.
We're sitting still now.
Health
Now
wise.
I understand. I'm not out running every day. I'm not, there's certain things that we weren't doing. So a lot of health changes when people
Yeah,
were in
a
lockdown.
lot. Yeah.
Yes, and it's probably smaller group, not masses. I do great
Oh
in a
gosh,
more
yeah.
intimate setting,
Yes.
but you put me at a
Yes, me too.
concert and I've gotten to the point that I
Oh,
will stick my fingers in my ears and pout like a 2-year old, like with all the hormones, which I know is something that you help with. But if I'm hot, if I'm sweating, if
uh,
the music is too
yeah.
loud, if the chair vibrates, like we are gone, we're gone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've been there.
Someone smells like
Yeah,
feet. We're leaving.
exactly.
Yes.
I love that you use the word trauma bestie. Just makes me automatically feel like I can tell you and you can be there for me.
Yeah.
How did you come up with that?
Someone called me that one day.
Yeah.
Someone used to call me the trauma tamer, and I didn't really much like that because it sounds like
Yeah.
Ringling Brothers to me, like I have to
Yeah,
chase
yeah, that's what I
tigers.
pictured.
But my trauma bestie, and it came up as an affectionate word. I've worked with a lot of people over the years, and one of the people that I worked with was like, I can truly tell you anything and it doesn't scare you off.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, dog,
That's
that's why I'm
beautiful.
here. And you know this already, and I use the same vernacular as my client. So if my client is someone who is okay, a little bit different. I don't have a good vernacular. I speak only English, so that's for one. But
Yeah.
two, if they are someone who cusses a lot, down, we're good.
Yeah.
If there's
Yeah.
someone who is a little more pious, I will do my very best not to cuss a
Mhm.
lot and match that vernacular, right?
Right,
And
right.
so this was a client who literally just needed to come in and say all the words they needed to say. And I'm like, all right. And they're like, that didn't scare you? Bitch, no.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Bring it
And they
on.
were able to give me truly blood, guts, and gore that they needed to get
Yeah.
off their chest.
Yes.
And okay.
Yeah.
And they're like, are you okay? I'm like, honey, this ain't about me. This is about you.
Right.
And we
Right.
did this enough times because they were processing, they were getting out of their position within the first responder network and they were retiring and they just needed to kind of let some stuff go because it was time. They didn't have to keep it
Good for
down.
them.
And this
Yeah.
person
Good
was
for
like,
them.
you're like my trauma bestie. I
Mm,
can't talk to anybody else like this. I was like,
yeah.
please don't talk to me about some of the things that you seriously can't talk to me about anything. Some of my guys used to send me pictures of their poop. Please don't do that. If it's
Right.
appropriate, we're going to talk about it. But if you're just calling to,
Right.
I don't need to hear all about the intimacies of your life
Right.
unless that is relevant. If it's
Right.
relevant, yes. This person was just like, you're like my trauma bestie.
Yeah, I
All
love
right, dude,
that. I love that.
ma'am, I'll be
Now
your
I have
trauma
to ask
bestie.
you, how does grief show up physically, separate from the emotional experience of it?
So it honestly depends on the person. So I can share my personal experience and then some experiences of different people that I've worked with. For me, grief is extremely stressful. And I'm sure you're aware the gut brain axis, it's the vagus
Yeah.
nerve. It
Hmm.
the biggest nerve in the body. You actually have more nerve endings in your gut than you do in your brain.
Yep.
And when we found out that my dad wasn't going to make it, I turned into, no offense to truckers out there, but my experience with truckers is they will guzzle something real quick and belch.
Yeah.
And I turned into the burp fairy. I was belching and I hadn't had any soda. My body was just like, I was looking through the medical records while we were trying to make decisions. Like it was
Oh my.
bad. So for me, and then making the decision and the aftermath, we ended up having to let my dad go very quickly.
I'm
And
sorry.
thank you. But that grief, because it was
Mm.
so sudden and so unexpected, and we had to work through so much, I belched for 6 months.
Oh my God.
I
Isn't that
guess it's better than
amazing?
farting, but I belched
Or
for
still,
six
but
months
still.
because it was so incredibly unexpected. And the grief was just so overwhelming because we had texted that morning.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Oh,
so I'm like, every time I would think about my dad, I'm like, "Blah."
I think stuff like that is so cool because our bodies are telling us, right? But it's so hard to make that But when you can, you're like, oh, of
Yes,
course, right? This makes so much sense.
right.
I think that's amazing that, you understand that and bringing that to your clients to just
Hmm.
continue that education, right? And again, back in their bodies about, but also those symptoms that are so strange.
And it's one of those times where I was also a professor and I had a
Mhm.
full-time day job.
Oh my gosh.
So I was teaching
You
three
were busy,
classes a
busy.
week, and normal American society gives you 3 days to
Right.
grieve something. It's not one thing. Any loss can be tragic, but when you know it's coming and you can prepare
Kind
for
of
it
prepare.
versus
Right.
out of the blue. And so both my
Right.
jobs gave me 3 days. We couldn't do anything in 3 days because it was so unexpected.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm in class, just I still had to do what we had to do. So my jack in the box, I would shut that lid and I'd come home and start thinking about my dad, and some of that stress would come up. Now, did I belch in the middle of the day for random? Yeah, my body was
Mm.
still working through all of that, right?
Oh yeah.
With clients, I have had it show up with GI distress. I have had it show up with continuous weeping, where
Yes.
just
Hmm.
uncontrolled, where sometimes we can get ourselves to, you go through the sheep woman phase and then you come back and you're like, and then you can
Right.
regulate yourself, right? So we get through that. I've had one of my folks that I worked with, it was consistent neck and back pain
Hmm.
because they held
Yeah.
the grief there. So it's so
Mhm.
different for different people.
Yes.
Certainly there's common places to store emotions, but everyone's unique. And
Mhm.
I think if I would have had a trusted, probably trauma informed yoga practitioner to work through that neck and
Right.
that back, that would have been
Right.
something that I definitely would have referred for, because
Hmm.
I can help you and tell you what these symptoms are and do Reiki and do there different somatic work that I do. But I am a very, just because of so many people having physical and sexual trauma, unless you give me specific consent
Yeah.
to touch you, I do not. Like
Right.
my hands go
Yes.
above. There's always a blanket on top if there's something that we're working with and I need to apply some pressure, or I'll use a weighted blanket instead of my hands, or a weighted stuffed animal instead of my hands. Taking that into account, some people actually get very sore where
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
holding their trauma, they're
So
holding that
true.
grief. And
Hmm.
for me, grief isn't only about the loss of a human or a pet. Grief
Right.
can be, you can grieve losing a marriage, you can grieve losing your childhood because it was taken from you by a
Yeah.
perpetrator. You can grieve witnessing someone's life. You may not have known
Yeah.
them. Or you can
Right.
grieve abuse. Like there, it's not just the loss of a life, right? There's a loss
Right. Oh
of
gosh. Yeah.
X.
Something.
Yeah.
I grieved what my life was going to look like when we started homeschooling. And we homeschooled by choice because my daughter has anxiety. And it
Okay.
was not something that was ever on my plan, laughed at us.
Wow.
And when we pulled her out, because it was at that point the only option to
Regulate
not
her.
save her,
Yeah.
that's not keep her safe. This was 13 years ago. I grieved. So I think
Yes.
yeah, like you said, you can grieve for so many different things and they can, traumatic, not traumatic, but
Yes.
there's still a grief of some sort. Yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure. Yeah, I love that you said that. And I think I've read these books and talking to clients too, even stress can show up body, right? I'm stressed. And then after the stressful event, my lower back is on fire. And I'm like, I know I didn't injure it. I know this was stress. And there have
Yes.
been talks about people with migraines or,
Oh, yeah.
rotator cuff injuries, wrist injuries that are recurring. I didn't do anything. And it's Where do you feel stress? What happened recently that maybe this stress popped up again, right?
Yeah. So it's your body's normal response to an abnormal psychological situation. And one of
Oh,
the
I like
things
that.
that I used to teach when I was in critical incident stress management, when I would do my debriefings, is I was the one that went over. The first question I asked, and this kind of goes back to poop, and this is why I got pictures of poop, by the way, was, how's your shit? And they would be like,
Right.
what? I'm like, that's the first sign to me that something, your GI is almost always the first sign something's wrong. Almost always. But if
Yes.
not, here's some
Yep.
other common things: migraines, headaches, sometimes blurred vision, depending on fatigue. You can have muscle soreness. You can have unexplained, your body is just trying to release some type of stress. That's if you ever see a dog out when they're freaking out, what's the first thing they do? They shake. Your
Yes.
body is going to
Yes.
have those tremors. And so I'm just trying to tell the folks this was a big, ugly thing that you guys went and did or had to attend to. And these are normal reactions. This is your body doing what it was designed to do because your
Right.
psyche had an abnormal situation it had to handle.
Exactly.
Hunger, not
Yes.
hunger. People tend to want to self medicate with alcohol, sex, video games,
Mhm.
watching porn,
Code.
eating.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all of those things is totally normal. Now,
hmm
we need to kind of keep you from doing that a whole lot so you don't harm yourself.
Right.
But
Right.
muscle soreness, jaw clenching, some people have I think it's called trichotillomania, where they'll pull their hair out.
Mm.
So there's so many things. Your body is just going to be like, yeah, we're done. Some people get
Yeah.
limb numbness. It's the list is extensive, and you
Mhm.
might think it's out of nowhere. It's not. Your brain
Right.
somewhere is going, fire, fire, fire. Right? So,
Yes. Yeah. I love that you said that. One of my trainings, we talked about how wild animals deal. Have you ever seen like a deer attacked or an animal attacked and they actually escape
mhm.
from whatever was attacking them? They'll go and just basically shake for a half hour. They're getting rid of all of that cortisol, lowering, regulating, doing all the things, right? And then they move on about their day. And that never really affects them ever again until
Yes.
we're not that in touch with our bodies anymore. So we don't give ourselves those times to go basically shake it out or tremor it out. And so we have to store it somewhere until it makes itself known. And so, yeah, I think that I always think about that. If I was a wild animal, maybe I should just go shake for a half hour and
Or work
bounce.
out, and Annie, some of it too, I think you probably see because truly, when you are in significant distress, your entire ecosystem messes up. Your hormones can
Mm.
change, your blood pressure changes, your blood pressure changes. That's quite easily the first thing to see. But
Right.
it can go down to almost a cellular level on how dysregulated
Definitely.
you are. So if you're having unexplained erectile dysfunction or unexplained lady business issues, or you're getting periods every 2 weeks instead of every
Right.
28 days,
Yes.
and you cannot find a root cause, like they've run all the tests, it could be your body saying, hey, we need some attention in reference
Mm.
to a memory, in reference to this situation. And that's why I think practitioners partnering with each other or working in a holistic space are such an advantage
Mhm.
versus, and that's one of the things I hate about the US medical system too, is, oh, I don't do that. You need to go see your specialist. You need to go see a specialist. Bro,
Right. Yeah. And
like,
then they got 20 million people. Yeah.
yes, and none of them communicate with each other.
Yes.
So it
Yes.
truly can break down to the hormonal level in addition
Mhm.
to those physical symptoms. Have you seen that on some of the patients that you've worked with?
Yeah, no, thank you for asking that. And I love that you brought that back because even when stress, you're in that fight or flight. And our fight or flights nowadays are all the emails that we see. We've got 100 in our inbox to the person that's driving or riding our tail when we're driving
Mm-hmm.
to someone that you're trying to make happy and they're not happy, right? It's just constant. And in our bodies go into fight or flight. And if they're in fight or flight, our stress cortisol goes first and gets rid of all the other hormones. It takes over and basically says, we're not having a baby now, or
Mm-hmm.
vice versa for a man too. Get rid of all those hormones. We are just going to pump cortisol.
Mm-hmm.
So all your other hormones that make you happy, that make you regular, that make you have an erection, they're all gone.
Yeah.
That's not rock up at all from lowering that stress. They're just going to keep staying low and it's just slowly wear down. And that's just hormones, right? It's not the muscles in your body that fire up when you think you have to run from a tiger, when it's really just an email that maybe triggered you, right?
Tiger.
Yeah, your hip flexors are triggered, your shoulders are up, and right, your hands might be in
Yes,
fists,
like,
your hands might be locked out,
yeah.
like you are ready to fly, and yet it's just an email that triggered you. And again, you get sore from that because you're holding yourself and not realizing it. I know I do, and you don't
Yeah.
realize it, and then like you shake it out, all those things. And I think it's so hard to recognize it in the moment. And I think practicing is really, as hard as it is to say, I'm going to take a few times throughout the day to stop, check in, it's truly game changing when you can actually do that. And even, I always say, stress is not horrible. It's not this thing you shouldn't have. You're stress, right? It's how you manage it
Right.
and how to manage that, all of it, trauma,
Right.
the grief, the stress, right? And it's really figuring out what works best for them, but coming back to the body every time
Yes.
is really the biggest thing.
Yeah. And there is good stress, right? So there's
Right.
good stress. So just when you go to the gym and you want to get healthier, stronger muscles, whatever, you literally have to put your muscles under a little bit of stress for them, and they get small tears in them, which is why you're sore. And then
Right.
the body rebuilds those tears, and that's how you get stronger. And so you're literally putting a little bit of stress on your body, but it's for the benefit of it, right?
Right.
So there
Right.
is good stress. Like when you're anticipating the call from an old friend or whatever, and you're like a little elevated, and then they finally call or you make the connection. You're like, oh, so that's good stress. So
Yeah.
excitement
Yeah.
is good stress.
Excitement.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We're going to wrap this up. I just have a couple fun questions that I ask everybody, but I think it's always fun because these are some of my favorite things.
Okay.
So I always like to see what other people's are. So what's your favorite go-to morning drink?
My favorite go-to morning drink, I'm boring. If I could make it with not all the calories in the world, I love a pumpkin spice chai
Yum.
with a shot of espresso.
Oh, yum. That sounds amazing.
It's
Yes.
so good.
Yes. 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 Love that. Awesome. Okay. And then what book are you reading or listening to right now?
Oh, I'm listening to 4. So I am always trying to learn new things to help and support my clients. That's 95% of what I'm reading. But I'm also working on honing my intuition a little bit better. Again,
Yes.
not only just for myself, but to better serve my clients. I'm very in tune. I honestly sometimes feel what my clients feel. So I have my own system process to work through that. But one of them is called the guides. And it's one that I literally
Ooh,
just picked up to learn a
gonna
little
write
bit
this down.
more about spirit guides, angels, whatever you call it in your life,
Yeah.
and just listening to that intuition, whatever that is for you and your faith background or lack of faith background. It's how the universe, God, spirit, whatever, tuning into that and how they can guide you better. So I'm only one chapter
Yes.
in, so I'm super
Okay.
excited to continue that one.
Okay. That sounds like a good one. Because I, like you, am very intuitive.
Mhm.
And I think the more I get into my body and the more I practice, the more intuitive I become. But probably like me with human design, is it your gut that says the sacral yes?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there is that gut. And I know my intuition has saved my life.
Drink, ma'am. What's your favorite morning
Oh,
drink?
okay. Good. I love
Dish,
that.
girlfriend,
Yes.
dish.
Yeah. I'm a coffee girl. And for years and years, just black coffee boring. But as I get older, I'm like, why? It's truly boring. Like, why not add a little more fun? So I'm dairy free and gluten free, but I found this amazing dairy free hot chocolate powder for my kids. And I actually take a little scoop and put it in my coffee because I love chocolate,
Yes,
coffee and
girl.
chocolate. So I put that in there, a little cardamom. That to me is beautiful. So
Okay.
that's my go-to morning drink.
So,
And then books right now. So I have 3 teenagers, and I, like you, I always have 4 or 5 books going. But my 2 older ones that I have really, you're gonna laugh, I've really gotten into fantasy or this
okay.
romantasy. And so it's fun because we read it separately, but then in the morning we're like, okay, what part did you get to? And fun to have that connection with
Love
smutty
that.
fantasy. Yeah. My books usually, yes, like I love to learn like you, but a lot of them tend to be just like fun, my escape.
Yeah, yes.
I need to be away from this world for a little bit. And what can I do now?
Amen. You got
Yeah,
that
right.
right.
So, yeah. Thank you. This was so much
Oh, my
fun.
pleasure. Thank you for
We will
having
put
me.
links to find Courtney below. And thanks you guys for joining. I hope you have a great day.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
So